Hi, this is Craig White from CLRM, and in this video, we'll be talking about one of my favorite topics, photography. Working with owners to produce this most important marketing component is one of the most rewarding facets of my work with CLRM. Now, as you're aware, we come out, we do a full photo shoot of the property, usually at the time of initial evaluation. Over the years, we like to keep things fresh, so we come out, we do return visits to capture updates, or simply improve on what we already have in place. Occasionally though, the conditions aren't quite right when we happen to be at the cottage. It might be a poor weather day, you might be in the midst of renovating a room or two, or maybe that friend has popped in with their entire family and the place is an utter mess. So we try and schedule around all of these things, but it doesn't always work out. Additionally, there are some things we'd never be able to capture ourselves. Things like sunrises, sunsets, evening fires, or maybe you've just added a new feature and you want that included right away. That's where we ask for your contributions. Now, we're not expecting all of you to be great photographers, but a lot of you are, and we do get a lot of great photos from you, like these ones.
As I mentioned, sometimes when we are at a cottage, it's not the best day for weather, as was the case for this cottage. The owner subsequently provided us with a beautiful sunny day shot showing the entire cottage boathouse dock taken from the water, which is also something that we don't often get an opportunity to do. The second one, I just love this rainbow shot. Now, the odds of us being at your cottage at the time of a double rainbow are pretty low, but as an owner, you're there much more frequently and can occasionally capture these types of golden moments, and we're happy to have them on your listing. It really helps with the portraying of the entire experience. As does this third one, of course. We're not usually party to your evening campfires, but they are an essential part of the cottage rental experience, so we love to include them on a listing as well.
Unfortunately, we also get a lot of photos that we just can't use. Now, it's not because they're not good photos, it's just because there's a couple of other problems that people forget about. One problem is that photos are sent to us that are just too small. I'll show you what I mean.
Here's a photo that looks okay in a thumbnail mode. It's 250 pixels in width. Now, if you start expanding this, you'll see some loss of detail. Let's just go to the website size, which is 1000 by 667 or 668 in this case. So you see what happens. The fine detail of the photo is lost, and it really starts to get pixelated and blurry and really doesn't look nice. It doesn't present a good image. Now let's bring in a larger image of this same photo. So this photo is 2400 pixels in width. As you can see, the current display size is actually only 51%. If we expand this to its full size, you can see it's a pretty large photo. So resizing this, on the other hand, we're resizing downward. So let's resize down, and we see that the photo looks pretty much as it did in the larger version. All the fine detail and everything is there. And then if we compare it side by side with the one that we upsize, so it's the same photo. You can see the loss of detail here pretty easily.
Another reason that photos are sometimes not usable is because they come to us in portrait mode. Portrait mode, as opposed to landscape mode, is when the photo is taller than it is wide. And there's a simple reason for that. It's these things, phones. We hold them like this all the time. So when we take a photo, we tend to hold it like this and take a photo. It comes to us in portrait. All you really need to do to alleviate this is to hold the phone like this, turn it sideways, and take a landscape mode photo. That will result in an image that is much more usable on the website.
Here's a really nice photo that was sent to us, and it is in portrait mode. Now, we want to keep this photo for the listing because it really displays the essence of a cottage country vacation, the kayaking through a secluded bay on a beautiful day. So one of the options would be, we can't just do a resize, of course, to our web size of 1000 by 667, because if we do that, of course, the perspective is totally out of skew. We can't put that on a listing. Another way to do it would be to try and crop to a space of the proper size, about something like that. But again, we've lost so much of the grandeur of the picture, so we don't really want to do that either. So while we do want to use this image, even though it is portrait, there is a couple of options we can do. One, we can add some white space on either side to fill out the frame. Not a preferred method because, again, it doesn't fit with the rest of the photos on the listing very well. Or another one is to put another portrait mode image right beside it, put them on the listing, which we've done on a number of cases. More often we'll do this in a case of a room that's very difficult to photograph in landscape mode. Rooms like a bathroom or a powder room, sometimes you just can't do a proper landscape mode shot, and a portrait mode is the only way to go. So if we have a couple of those, then we'll use them on a listing, but something we want to keep to a minimum.
Finally, there's aspect ratio. This isn't as much of a problem because we can usually work around it by cropping, but it does sometimes result in missing details. Simply put, aspect ratio is the ratio of the width to the height. So we use an aspect ratio of 3:2. That means for every 3 pixels a photo is wide, it's 2 pixels high. So 3000 by 2000, for example, is a 3:2 aspect ratio. 6000 by 4000 is a 3:2 aspect ratio. A square photo of 1000 by 1000, unfortunately, is a 1:1 aspect ratio, and we wind up having to crop some of that out. I'll show you what I mean.
So again, we have this photo, really like it. It does encapsulate all of the aspects of the waterfront side of the cottage, the main cottage, the multiple levels of stairs and deck, the dock, and the boathouse. So we definitely want to be able to use this. Now, it was sent to us in this original 1:1 aspect ratio format, a square size, probably comes out of an iPad or an iPhone. And so what are our options with this one? Again, we just can't resize it to the size we use on the web for a listing. So one option would be to, again, pad it on either side with white space. Comes down to matter of personal taste. We really do like the listing to flow continuously and not have these white spaces. So the other option in this case would be to crop off some details that maybe aren't required for this particular photo, or that we can gain somewhere else. So as you can see, we've taken away some of the top upper level of trees and the sky and a chunk of the lake, but we left enough in there to enable guests to see that these things still exist and give some perspective for the photo.
Finally, sometimes we get photos in which the lighting just isn't quite right. I'm not really going to worry about it in this video, and we'll put together another one that will address that for those of you who are interested. Thanks for watching.